Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Burleigh and I used to be transgender, and I'd like to share with you today my experience and lessons learned. As a child, I had the reoccurring thought that God made a mistake, I'm a girl. I prayed before going to bed every night and I asked God, please make me a girl before I wake up. If I could have, at that point, I would have quickly chosen any path that would have transformed me into a girl. When I was in my 20s, I sought help for the disconnect between my mind telling me I was a woman, my body telling me I was a man. In seeking help and doing my own research, the message I received was that I had to change my body to match my mind. After seeking any other path forward, I decided to take the therapist's encouragement and the advice I read in the journal articles and in the books to change my body. In my mid-20s, I started on testosterone blocker and estrogen. My emotions were up and down and my body was changing, but I supposedly was on this new road to happiness and that made me happy. In my first surgery, I had a penile inversion, an Adam's apple shave, and a brow shave. After the surgery, the surgeon and nurses had difficulty stopping the bleeding from my new man-made vagina. My artificial vagina was packed with gauze and a sandbag was placed on my lower abdomen, but the bleeding did not stop. Later, my mom told me that going into my hospital room was awful. There was a pungent odor in the room of stale blood, my blood. I received a blood transfusion and units of plasma, and eventually the bleeding stopped. My 2-week stay in the hospital turned into a 3-week stay. The changing my penis to an artificial vagina required 2 surgeries, so about 4 months later, I was back for part 2. I was desperate for the happiness I believe was ensured me. After this, I had more body and voice feminization surgeries. But no matter how many I had, every time I looked in the mirror, I saw a man staring back at me. I tried hard to resolve the conflict between my mind and my body, but after 7 years of trying, I had more problems at that point than I had when I started on the road to transition. Suicidal thoughts were coming into my mind. I was in a pit of despair. The encouragement I received from the therapist, the books, the journal articles, they were wrong. In the pit of despair, I called out to Jesus of Nazareth. I gave my life and all of my problems to him, and at that point, he set me on a road to recovery that no therapist or medical professional was able to do. Later in life, after detransitioning, I heard it said that everyone has the need for acceptance, security, and significance. Though I hadn't heard this before I agreed with this statement, I started to think about how I had tried to satisfy these needs in my younger years. I had some problems as a child. I was very skinny. I had a speech impediment. I was picked on. I had learning difficulties. I wasn't athletic, and I didn't seem to fit in with the boys. I did, however, seem to fit in well with the girls. I enjoyed playing with them more than I enjoyed playing with the boys. As a boy, I didn't feel accepted, secure, and I most certainly didn't feel significant. But if I were a girl, I believe I would have felt accepted and more secure. And with my childlike thinking, I may have been more significant. In hindsight, I see that I had several underlying problems that reinforced the false thought that I was a girl, including being sexually abused in the 6th grade. The therapist never did uncover, never did delve into these underlying issues. And my research on transgenderism failed to turn up anything on these 3 needs for acceptance, security, and significance. Transitioning did not help my mental health issues. I still had to deal with those after I detransitioned. As you can see, I have fully detransitioned. I'm back presenting as a male, my birth gender. I'm happily married. I have 2 beautiful stepdaughters, and I have peace of mind and body. Lastly, I was past the age of responsibility when I made a horrible decision. In hindsight, I am male, and I was born into the right body. The therapists and medical professionals failed to help me with my underlying mental health problems. They identified me as transgender, and they were wrong. How often are they wrong? I ask you to please support House Bill 1080. I truly wish I would have received mental health care instead of the gender affirming care I did receive. Thank you for hearing my testimony.